Alright, car fanatics, so while we're out here, I'm going to be making a video talking about my driving impressions of the 997. I'm not going to be doing that much talking, but let's go ahead and get to it. So I'm here on a canyon road in Arizona. It's leading up to the lake. Nice little canyon road over here. The car is just in normal mode. I don't have it on sports suspension. It's a little bumpy, so don't really need that. Have the traction control on because definitely don't want to have any issues out here. I'm not driving really fast anyways, but just doing some nice spirited canyon carving. And the 997, I really love the amount of grip it has. I've taken it autocrossing, so I know how it behaves when pushed to limits at, let's say, speeds under 60 miles an hour. And with the traction control off, the back end can be a little bit wild unless you know what you're doing. It does take a lot of effort to kind of throw the back end out, even with traction control off. But when you're autocrossing and you're really trying to get those lap times, you can definitely push the car past its limits if you don't know what you're doing. But out here, with traction control on, I don't really feel any issues at all. The back end is super planted. I don't really get any understeer. When I autocross and I push it kind of hard, I can get some understeer, but that's simply because the back end has that much more grip, and weight management is super important. If I don't keep the weight over the nose and I push it into a really tight corner, the car does have a tendency to understeer. I also think it's the fact that I don't really have an aggressive alignment. The last time I aligned my car, I towed the shop to align it to maximize tire life. This was before I actually got to autocrossing and all of that. But I don't have that much negative camber up front. I think if I had a little bit more, that would stop some of the push. But generally, even with this pretty conservative alignment, I'm able to prevent the understeer really by going in to a corner, trail braking a little bit to keep the weight on the nose, and then I don't really have any issues. So out on these types of roads, I think the rear engine layout is totally perfect for it. You get a lot of grip, you get a lot of balance, you don't really feel too much of that weight transitioning. When I'm actually on the autocross and I'm driving this car or riding in D-Ray's Spider, the Boxster, the mid-engine layout is definitely a lot more stable. You don't have to work as hard to manage the weight, and it's overall a much more stable car. But I think if you're going to be doing some spirited driving, a 997, a rear engine kind of platform is going to be way more than adequate. I think it actually has more lateral grip than a Cayman and a Boxster, so it's going to be great for this type of driving. I even think if you get the hang of the car and the rear engine bias, you're going to be just as fast, if not faster, than a Cayman or a Boxster, just because you have a little bit more power, a little bit better brakes, and on corner exit you do have a ton of traction that I think the mid-engine cars don't have. Just taking it over here, the car is super flat. Really love how flat it is, and on this little straightless downshift and full throttle. All right, love that scream. Yeah, and I love the way the power in this car develops. It's super linear, and as you pull all the way to the 7,400 RPM red line, the car is literally making more and more power all the way up to red line. So you feel like you don't want to shift, but you kind of have to. I used to have a WRX which had turbocharger, and beyond like 6,000 RPM you could feel the power taper off. That was kind of boring, but not in the 997 at all. Just love kind of the noise this car makes. Now, I do have the exhaust modifications, which makes the car a lot more audible. Without that, the car is really quiet. I think if you had some type of intake as well as some exhaust work, the car would just overall sound amazing. Let me try to crack open the windows and see if this gives us some better exhaust noise. Maybe if I just pop this open. All right. Well, the car is definitely louder with the sunroof popped open. The 911 definitely has its own charm and unique personality. When I first drive the car and the car's not warmed up, the gear shifter is a little bit stiff. It it's not that smooth, but as soon as you warm it up, it becomes buttery smooth. All the shifts are just super, super precise, and with my OEM short shifter kit, it feels really great in between shifts. Now, I have to say, my car has almost 71,000 miles, and everything feels really tight. I think it was really well taken care of by the previous owner. It was an older couple. I think they just used it mainly for commuting. The car was still on the original brakes when I got it at 57,000 miles. I didn't have to replace the front brakes until 64,000 miles. So I think it just goes to show that the car was used for mainly highway commuting. All right, car fanatics. Well, there you have it. That's a really quick review of how the 911 handles into canyons. As you can see, it's a lot of fun, and I really don't think, going from a 997 to a 991 to even a 992 is going to give you that much more enjoyment. I think for you, just kind of think about what it is you're looking for. If you're looking for a weekend warrior car, you probably don't need all the creature comforts and the latest technology out there, and you probably want a stick shift if you want a car as a weekend driver, because it's going to give you a more visceral experience. I think if you're going to have a car as a daily driver, you can go with the PDK and have all the creature comforts. But if you want a weekend car, really get something that you can be super, super involved in, that you can take to the canyons. That should help you have a good experience. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. Leave any questions or comments below.